another German accent. Sorry, we can't get rid of it. Actually, I live in London and came from Frankfurt, where we had a FinTech forum. This is what my company is doing. It's called TechFluence. Let's see whether it works. Yeah, it works, perfect. Where startups pitch to investors. We do them twice a year in Frankfurt, so if you're interested to pitch to investors, fintechforum.de. It's all in English, of course, and not too far from here. And I would like to speak a little bit about the fintech scene in Germany, because I think it's underrated at the moment. Everyone's looking at London. I live there now. It's a fantastic city. It's the fintech capital of the world. Maybe it's a bit on hold because of the reason we all know, Brexit. But let's take a look at what we're doing at TechFluence. We're a research and consultancy firm. We believe in startup innovation and help incumbents with the startups to digitally transform. For this, we also have some research products. Here we have one from our digital wealth management research, robo-advice. That's some stuff we're doing. We do the already mentioned FinTech Forum since 2013 in Frankfurt. I think we had 15 at the moment, 262 startups, which we selected on stage in Frankfurt, in London, in Berlin, in Vienna, and some others. Out of those, following our events, they raised around $280 million and created $300 million in exit value. Here we have some alumni, so we're tracking what is happening in Germany relatively intensely. We also see very small rounds, like here $500,000, also bigger rounds, and we do this since 2013, as already mentioned, up to now. And the reason why I chose this topic for today was because you all might be on newsletters from some American research firms. One of them is you see here. And what you maybe cannot read at the back is the figure here. It says for 2017 until August, 83 million of funding in Germany. They compare it to UK. Unfortunately, these 83 million are completely wrong. What we have in Germany is 415. So are they completely nuts? No, they aren't. They just don't look at the small rounds. They say this in the small print, but this is creating completely wrong picture. And here you see our research from basically grassroots, everything that we see and find, partially we are involved. Obviously, we see a lot through FinTech Forum. Why? Why is that? That the big firms don't see a lot is because they look at the big rounds only, and they're actually covered by mostly the UK. But below that, a lot of stuff is happening in Germany, as I showed on the previous slide. Here we go. This slide is very interesting also to show you why this is also decentralized. We're building hubs in Germany around the cities you see here, Hamburg, Düsseldorf, Frankfurt, Munich, and so on. Germany is so big that it's not only one place where innovation is happening, digitization, fintech, and so on. In UK, it's London, and it's 99% in London. In Germany, it is widespread. We compared this a little bit to clusters we see in the automotive. You know, all that automotive is very important for the German economy. So there's a clustering you see. And what we are seeing as a target picture is, and you won't believe it, this one is an older map, how the landscape of brewery in Germany, breweries looked like. There were many. Germans love beer, as we all know. Not only Germans, but especially Germans. There were thousands, actually. And this is where we see the digitization of the financial services going in the end of the day. So there's a lot happening under the radar that you might not see if you don't know where to look. Obviously, you can look at our website, fintechforum.de, where you also would see meetups. Also here in your topic, basically blockchain, there's a lot of stuff going on all over Germany, all the cities I mentioned. There is a certain focus in Berlin, certainly. And you would also see job situations. So there's one company that has been close to FinTech Forum called Deutsche Software Engineering. They're looking for 100 people at the moment. Everything. It's unfortunately in German, backend. Backend for their core product, which is running with 70 banks in Germany, 15 people for blockchain development, 30 for front end, and so on. And this is in Görlitz, Dresden, Berlin. They just opened a new office in Munich, and something in North Germany is following as well. So also this is very decentralized. If you're interested in this, please ping me. And now comes the time where I actually do have to say something about blockchain, and I have to pour a little bit of water into the wine that we have heard the whole day, which I like a lot. I believe in the concept of blockchain distributed ledger in theory and in practice. Unfortunately, we're not alone. And 4 days ago, Deutsche Bundesbank issued a report, which they do monthly. And somebody had told me 2 years or 3 years ago that Deutsche Bundesbank would spend a fifth of one monthly report only on blockchain. I would have called this person completely nuts. So they wrote 15 pages on blockchain and looked very closely. And you know how Germans are. It takes a long time until they do something, but if they do it very intensely and very fundamentally. What did they write about this? Very much to my surprise. I knew they were digging and looking and have a project ongoing with Deutsche Börse and so on, but that they give this topic blockchain, for them it's still a topic, so much space was surprising. That's a quote. Functionally, DLT seems to be suitable, but at the moment it remains unclear in how far DLT is advantage in terms of security, efficiency, costs, and speed vis-a-vis today's technology. That's my personal translation of the German original, which you see on top. I think the English version of the monthly report will come out in a week's time or 10 days' time. What do they write in the whole 15 pages? It is very broad, very fundamental. They explain a lot, worthwhile reading probably for many people who have not looked at it. So we will certainly distribute this to some of our clients in the banking space, insurances, asset wealth management. They basically say they cannot imagine that this is going to happen in the near future as a basis for retail payments. They basically say red card for central bank money, digital central bank money, which there are quite a few concepts around, as you know, Fedcoin and so on, and many central banks look into the topic. Now, when Bundesbank comes out and says this is not going to work, unfortunately for many in the crowd here, this will have an impact. The only area where they see a certain potential, even now, is in the security settlement area. So that is the tokenization, which we had just heard before. So that's the water. But I felt I produced this overnight, basically. I felt it's important to have this also on the radar. If one wants to have distributed ledger technology successful, you have to also convince those people who are setting the rules. And we have actually today came the news that the Uber license in London is not going to be prolonged. So Uber service will most likely stop by end of September in London. Unthinkable. But these are the rule setters, and if you don't embrace them and convince them, they might simply blow out the fire. No matter how good and convincing an idea was. And that is my message here. So please do not forget to embrace, especially regulators and the public opinion. I know there's a lot going on, but maybe it needs to be identified. We all know that the German economy is a relatively big one in the Eurozone and within EU. Might even get a bit more important now if Brexit is really happening. So it makes sense to embrace also people in Germany. So please travel to Berlin, travel to Frankfurt, travel to Bonn, where BaFin sits, Frankfurt obviously for Bundesbank, and convince them, tell them, because they are And that is maybe the good piece of news out of this report. They are going to monitor continuously what is going on with this technology. And I quote again, Bundesbank in its role as operator, monitoring authority, and as a catalyst will analyze this technology further in order to be able to actively participate in the discussion with own findings. So they're closely looking into it. I leave this to you, how you want to interpret this, whether this is good news or bad news. But I think it is an opening door that they're looking into this and must be open for discussions. If you're interested in what we are doing, here you see our social media accounts. You can also register for a newsletter on the website I already mentioned. And yeah, with this, my presentation is a bit shorter than others.